Youth Connected.
Thank
you. Okay. Good evening. I'll say hi to you. Good evening.
Okay, I'd like to call the regular Board of Selectmen meeting on Tuesday, July 15th at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall to order at 7:02. In attendance are Selectmen Borbo, Concadello, Asklar, and Rizza. Absent is Selectman O'Brien, and our town manager, David Porter, is here as well. First order of business is to see if there's a motion to approve the July 1st, 2025 regular meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of July 1st, 2025, and I have one comment.
Let's get to the
Second.
second first, and then we'll have a discussion. Joe, okay. Okay, Louise.
So my first comment on the last page, page 5, respectfully submitted by Tracy Monterville, board clerk. It's missing on the last page. Who did the minutes? See at page 5?
Oh, yeah.
Right after
Okay.
adjournment. Respectfully submitted. Tracy, you got that, Tracy? I think she did.
Oh, yeah, I didn't sign it.
Yeah, you didn't sign it. Sometimes people like to know we type them.
And if I may, on page 4, number 10, the second bullet on the selectmen updates. It said Miss Borbo attended the Duncan Grand opening, which is true. Best Cleaners opening last week. Louise Concadello also joined me at the Best Cleaners. I'd like to give her credit for being there.
Oh, yes. All right,
Anything else?
that's it.
All right, those in favor of accepting them as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Okay. We're up to additions to the agenda. I have none. Okay.
I just have one flash vote. Did we ever get any results?
We did, and everyone who took the survey can see them. I'm also happy to go through them with you.
Okay.
Shauna and I reviewed them together, and based on the results, we created a proposed service area for the senior shuttle. And when the full policy is ready, she will bring it first to the council or commission on aging, and then after that, we will bring it to board of selectmen.
Huh. So all the people that filled it out, which I did,
Yeah.
I never got a result.
You didn't get an email result?
No, and I got Louise, thank you for your, filling it out.
Yeah, because it had all the results and all the comments and.
Yeah, I would love to read that. Yeah. Okay.
And if your
All right.
name is on the database to get that. Did you check your spam folder?
Oh, do you think it went to spam?
Could have.
It could have,
Okay, I'll check.
if you would like, if you have trouble, I'm happy to print them out. for you.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, that was my question. Okay.
Okay, on to public comments. Excuse me, members of the Marlborough community are invited to share their thoughts with the Board of Selectmen. Please provide your name and address and limit your comments to no more than 3 minutes. Please note that the board will not engage in dialogue with the public. I'll ask for those people in the room first, if there's anyone. Yes.
Hello. My name is Ruth Shea. I live at 67 Hopewell Heights in South Glastonbury. I'm the owner of Zena's Cucina right across the street at 17 North Main. Thank you for having me. I am here to propose posting a farmer's market on the town green. I had emailed Deb. If it's okay, I'd like to just read the email. So fill everybody in.
Great.
So we at Zena's Cucina are excited to propose the idea of hosting a farmer's market on the Marlborough Town Green. We believe this event would greatly benefit our community by promoting local produce and fostering a sense of togetherness and community. Before proceeding further with our plans, we consulted with Peter Hughes, who advised us that we would need approval from the Board of Selectmen to host this event on the Marlborough Town Green. We appreciate the guidance and are keen to follow the necessary procedures to ensure everything is in order. We plan to attend the upcoming BOS meeting on July 15th today, where we will formally request your permission during the public comments section. We kindly ask you to inform us if there are any additional steps that are required in order to secure your approval. In line with Peter's advice, we've already contacted the Connecticut Department of Agriculture to understand the requirements, and we are confident that we can meet these stipulations and are eager to move forward.
Thank you. On our agenda, we do have under new business, the proposed farmer's market on the town green, and we'll have a discussion then. And probably ask you some questions or have dialogue.
Yeah, great.
Could I
Sure.
suggest that because Michelle is here tonight, that you maybe take it out of order and do that first?
Sure.
Good idea.
She can get on her way. You're welcome to stay as long as you like, but if you don't want to, then we can give you the rest of your evening.
May I ask if there are other public comments first, and then we'll go back to Ruth?
Not a public comment. I can ask a question here.
Let us have a little bit of discussion, and then if you've got a question, fine.
Okay, public comment. About that, Rockland, Chelsea, live in South Buckland. You expect this on a regular frequency or a one-time deal?
Ideally, I would like it on a regular frequency. I think that would be the most
And the
successful.
frequency we do what? Because they have some like in Colchester and, some of the other towns, they have farmers markets as well.
Yes,
And you're looking at maybe once a month, once every couple of weeks. I'm just curious.
yeah, at the minimum, I would say once a month. I've actually worked farmers markets for some
Okay.
friends of mine who have farms in Glastonbury. They go to markets all over the state.
And I'm assuming it would not just include produce, but you'd also have like, use the word loosely, like trinkets, people who are doing maybe artwork, or things of that nature.
Possibility.
Why not expand it?
Mhm.
You know, why hold it tomatoes? You know, why not have people making glass pieces or whatever? My suggestion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rob, do you have anything to say at the public comments now?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm all set.
Okay, I just want to make sure. All right, let's get back to Ruth and the farmer's market. Want to tell us a little bit about Chatham Health?
Sure. So first of all, I'm very pleased to hear that you've been in touch with Peter and the Department of Agriculture. That absolutely is the first step. If it turns out that any of the vendors are selling prepared foods as opposed to tomatoes on the vine, they make it into like a soup and they're selling it, then that's where Chatham Health would get involved. I'm happy to help you navigate all of this. I want this to be.
All of that information is on the DOAG website,
Perfect.
and I've also been in contact with Jamie. So every farmer is responsible for their own permits and licensing and all of that to cover their
Right.
health code requirements. If we expanded to the point of somebody wanting to do prepared foods, we would have to definitely be more involved with the health departments. But for just selling produce, and even meats and eggs and that kind of thing, it's not required for us to do anything extra in the health department.
When I mentioned this fantastic idea at my staff meeting this morning, the still relatively new senior center director, Shoshana Mercer, mentioned something interesting. And that is, she said there's this program where low-income seniors can get like
They get
farmers
vouchers, yeah,
market
they get a
voucher.
voucher, yeah. WIC and seniors of low income get, I think it's $15 a week
Okay.
in vouchers that they can use to buy Connecticut grown produce. Seniors are also allowed to get honey and eggs with their vouchers. And if we do this as a certified market, that'll be advertised in
Okay.
the DOAG website on their brochures that they send out with those vouchers, so those people will know that they can come tomorrow and get their fresh produce.
So that would be wonderful, because the one thing that she mentioned to me is that the farmers markets in Hebron and Colchester do not accept those
That's
vouchers.
just it.
And so currently, if you have someone with these vouchers, they have to go to, I think she said Manchester or Willimantic. I mean,
Yeah,
she listed several, but they were all,
Yeah,
far
Willimantic
enough
and
away.
Middletown, I know,
That,
or Hartford.
it's kind of a long drive, and the markets in our area don't currently accept them. So she said, can you talk to Ruth and see
Yeah.
if she'd be willing to, because it would be great
Yes.
to have something
So
closer.
it's actually the farmers themselves are responsible for getting certified to accept those checks. So that's another thing that they have to take care of. I would have to make sure that they have the capability to accept those vouchers. It's not a problem. Those farmers are doing it now.
How do people obtain the vouchers?
It's through the state. They just have to apply and they're mailed their vouchers.
That would be wonderful. I mean,
Yeah.
anytime you get fresh,
And again,
Fruits
also
and
with the
vegetables.
transportation, I'm sure there's a lot of seniors that don't necessarily drive themselves anymore. So to have something closer would be very convenient for them.
Yeah, I have a question, kind of a general question. When we have these activities in the center of town, does it help your business? Does it help you? And I'll give you an example. When we have the fireworks, we have all these people gathered. Does it increase your business? Does it help or the farmers, or should we do more activities in the center of town to help your business?
I would love to see more activities. in
Yeah,
the
I have
town
no
too,
doubt.
Of course, yeah, to decrease visibility of my storefront. There have been some events that have helped. The fireworks in some years have been very helpful for business and in some years not so much. I
Okay.
don't know why that is. Maybe just people are
Okay.
more in the mood to come have drinks and food before and after one year. and not
It's kind of
so
a
much-
family,
Yeah,
Yeah. family thing.
you have drinks for the family.
So Ruth, were you planning on like a Saturday or a Sunday to
I was
do
hoping
this?
for a Sunday.
Sunday? Okay. So like maybe,
Sunday mornings from 9 to 2 or 10 to 2.
okay. And people would bring their own vegetables from their garden, let's say, and put them on the table?
No, they would have to be certified farmers, Connecticut farmers.
Okay. So not, Joe
Not
Schmo
just
down the
anybody
street.
Down the street now.
br-
no,
bring their
that would be
cucumbers and
not-
sell You can't do that.
No.
Okay, so everything's got to go through you. Okay.
and they also are responsible for their own setup, their tents, whatever they
Their own
happen to
tent,
bring,
their
and
own
then,
fire, their own
and then cleaning up
insurance.
afterwards.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
What happens with trash if there is any trash?
We'll have
How's
trash
that handled?
receptacles set up. Farmers will be responsible for cleaning up their own area.
Mhm.
And then I and my staff will run through and make sure everything's done properly.
Okay.
Do you have a schedule of how many times you'd like to do this?
I think at minimum once a month. And usually the farmer's market season is like mid-May to the end of October.
Right.
Ideally, I would love every week. I think that most of
That'd be
the
great.
most successful markets that I've seen are more consistent on a weekly
Okay.
basis.
Good, good. Okay.
Nice.
I'm sorry. You have to have somebody that, say, this is your area, this is your area, this is your area.
Yep.
Don't infringe on.
Right.
So you're gonna take care of all that?
Yep, everything would be assigned. So what I've seen for the most part is farmers sign up for the full season. So they're assigned that specific spot every Sunday morning through the entire season. So it's not like every month or every week I have to go reassign different farmers, different spots to go.
In charge. Who's the process? You, the town?
Well, what my plan is, I have to look into because my liability insurance would have to also cover that. So I've been in touch with my insurance broker to make sure that I have the right policies. So I'm thinking that I would charge vendors to cover that
So you would,
added
I'm
cost.
sorry if I'm getting to, so you would rent the town green? And that's what, so you would rent the town green?
So usually how it works.
What'd you say?
To rent the town
Oh,
green,
great.
that's usually how it works.
Yeah, yeah.
David, can you think of anything else that we need to ask at this point?
No, I mean, first of all, it sounds like Ruth has done a lot of the homework and legwork already.
Mhm.
And if you are comfortable kind of with the concept, I'm happy to
Move
you know,
along.
continue working,
Absolutely.
out any details that arise, but,
It's July already, the clock's ticking.
That was another concern, definitely. is we don't really have a lot of
So
time.
You
yeah.
don't have a lot of time.
Basically
And
3
like
months.
I mentioned, most farmers have already
Yeah.
done their.
Done
whole
their big thing
season.
already.
So
Mhm.
I have some friends I can reach out to if we're able to get, the next couple of months
Right.
going for the end of the season, great. If not, I'd like to propose it to be started next May.
Yeah. It'd be
Yeah,
good
I've-
to
I've
start
spoken-
now, just to get
I've
used
Start
to it.
planning now.
Yeah.
Get it all worked out.
A number of people in town would
Oh, yeah,
ask me about, why don't we have a
Yeah.
farmer's market?
right.
And,
Had a conversation with a lot of my regular customers
Yes.
at the restaurant too, and everybody is very excited to see some, yeah.
That's a great idea. Great idea.
I think it's
And the
a-
green's empty anyway. Nobody's doing anything there, right? Fireworks, that's about it, right?
I have a
A movie
two,
night, I know,
We have
it's
two movie
coming.
nights.
Two movie nights coming up, but that's Saturday
Be a
night.
lot of fun.
That'll be Saturday night.
Last weekend, and then
With
there's
food
a tax
bank.
sale a couple weeks ago.
Food bank, they were doing
It does
that.
seem like it's getting used a little bit more and more, it's
Yeah.
nice.
They are trying really
Yeah.
hard.
well, I'd like to make a motion to
Yep.
have Ruth and David work together to create a schedule for a farmer's market to begin as quickly as possible.
Mhm.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Any other discussion?
What a great idea.
great
Those-
idea.
Those in favor?
Who doesn't?
Aye.
Thank you. Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Back to work.
Make phone calls. Bye. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
It sounds like fun.
Okay, let's see. Going on to new business. 5A.
Oh, yeah.
It says discuss and vote on local option disabled veteran tax exemption. We have in our packet here some information about
Bring yours.
this legislation. I'm going to let Joe speak to it because he's been in touch with Steve Weir.
Had conversation with Representative Stephen Weir, and he says that we were one of the first city councils or boards who inquired about this. And
Really?
he was honored that we've taken this much interest in it. But the legislators had a dilemma. And the dilemma that they had was that is it reasonable for them to pass legislation that would compromise our income on our tax base? And that's what they debated. And of course, you come into the home rule statute and other things that give us the right to do certain things. Long story short, they made the decision that we have the option to either grant the dirt or the real estate, because the building or the dwelling is already exempt via state statute. So the question that we have in front of us, do we also want to do land and the dwelling or just the dwelling? Some other towns, I talked to some other people in government, and the word that came up was need. In the original intent of this legislation was an individual who's a veteran, who's 100% disability. He has 100% disability, and he has an income problem. He doesn't have the income coming in to really justify the or to help out with the tax. And we go back to the word need. That being said, do the residents in our town have the need for this? And the real question is, what do we lose in income and dollars by passing this? I know that David was going to get some numbers for us, and I think it'd be unreasonable for us at this time to really vote on this or to make a decision without having all the numbers on us on what would it really cost if we decide to go this route.
And without a full board as
And
well.
without a full board. That's it in a nutshell, basically. So,
The second page of what you presented us, David, is, there are some numbers here if I.
There are, and so if you focus on the right-hand column,
The current.
the current exemption,
Mhm.
24 grand list REMV is real estate, motor vehicle. And the far right column where it says revenue reduction, that means that in the current year, the 25-26 fiscal year that just started July 1st, due to the state legislation and the number of veterans who applied, who qualified, and were approved, our revenue will be $56,077 less than it would have been otherwise, or rather, everyone else had to and to make up the difference. Then there is another group of veterans who qualify in every way except that they submitted their applications too late for this year. Our grant list had already been finalized, but we have, Simon down the hall has taken their applications and they will receive this benefit next year. They do qualify. It was just a question of meeting the deadline before we closed our grant list. So no matter what, that will add another $34,115 in exempt in revenue lost, essentially. If we were to take both of those groups of people and add in the land, then that would further reduce revenue by $38,670, assuming that no more veterans come in and qualify, which they might, but we probably have most, if not all, at this point. We're not expecting a lot more. So if you sum those together, that comes out to be just under $129,000. In the grand scheme of things, that's not an enormous amount of money, but also bear in mind that, when we were sharpening our pencils down at the end and having all those Board of Finance meetings, the Board of Finance voted to use $170,000 from the undesignated fund balance to get our mill rate increase from, I think it was 4.4 or 4.5% down to 4.00%, because they felt like that would be, where they needed to be to get the referendum passed. So on the one hand, it's not an enormous amount of money, but it does make a difference.
And this past budget cycle, we didn't have big capital projects in there, as I know we're going to have this upcoming budget cycle. Again, I don't think voting without a full board is proper. How does a person qualify as being disabled? What is the process a person goes through to be determined to be disabled?
I'm not 100% familiar, but I believe that it is the Federal Veterans Affairs Administration, who not only run a series of their own hospitals, but also contract with other ones.
Right.
And so the veteran in question would have to be declared as such by their doctor.
By the doctor.
How many do?
My question, just, they would present these documents
Oh,
to
Sign.
yeah.
Yes, then is it his kind of final say as far as, or is there's a question or?
Well, it's not like they give him like medical records and say, this is the ailment, this is
certificate.
whatever. It really is just a certificate from their doctor, checkbox. Are they, do they meet the requirements? And then at that point, I mean, yes, I guess Simon makes the call, but there's not really a call to be made. I mean, if they present documentation from their doctor that they
100%
qualify,
disabled.
then
Yeah.
he
They get it.
signs them off. I mean, it's not, he's not denying someone
Right.
who comes in and says, well, you don't look disabled to me. That's obviously not happening, right?
Right, no,
That's not-
no. So how many,
You use the word need, which is a really important word,
need?
because
Okay.
there are disabled veterans who aren't as needy as others because they do have income coming in, whether it be through their spouse or through their retirement or whatever. And there are some, like you mentioned, that just have really, really struggled to be able to remain where they are. Louise, I'm sorry I cut you off.
I know, that's okay.
That was, if you look at the history of the legislation, the very beginning when the idea came up, the word need was, so these individuals, these vets, they gave to their country, certain individuals have this need. That's why the legislation was there. The problem with the legislation is that how does one determine need?
Well, also, in reading these bullet points here about being 100%,
P and T.
whether it be killed in the
Physical.
line of duty or disabled because of their service, not necessarily, 20 years later, they become disabled because of something else. This has to be directly related to their service, the time that they served our country. Because I know a lot of veterans who were perfectly healthy until they got older, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah, I can't.
just, things have happened. That's why I was curious as to how somebody gets labeled as disabled. And does that fit the parameters of being disabled while they were serving the country?
Dave, let me ask you this, if strictly from a business decision, we're showing that there's 129,000 less taxes that we're gonna take in. Put our business hats on, how would you make up that 129,000? If there was a way to do it? Would the state reimburse it, would reimburse us? Because the state is saying, we're already losing the income on the dwelling. And now they're giving us the income or the option of the income on the dirt.
So there are some state programs, like for example, when we lost the hospital, where we get a partial reimbursement from the state.
Right.
For this program, there is no reimbursement.
Okay.
And how many people are we talking about here? What do you think, people wise? I don't
Well,
know their
so
names.
so each one of these lines is
Is a
a
person?
person or
Okay.
a motor
Oh,
vehicle.
okay.
I took off their names and
Perfect,
their
yes,
street.
good. So there's that many. There's quite a few here. I mean, addresses, right? Huh? Yeah. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. And I'm gonna add the other ones too, right? 19 people. 19?
Do they have to apply for this every year? Or once they apply for it, is it continuous?
My understanding is that it continues indefinitely, and when the veteran passes, it applies to their spouse.
Oh.
So it will continue on until
Those are gone.
they either pass or move out of town, sell the property.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I think it needs more thought and more discussion, and then before we do any vote, again, we need all 5 of us here to do some.
When does this have to be approved?
There's no
Doesn't matter.
time limit.
No time limit?
I
Okay,
mean,
good.
right now, we've got till January before the next grand list.
Yeah, you would need to make a decision before we finalize the grant.
Okay,
But
okay,
you probably have 6 months before. that.
okay, all right. All right, we'll put it on the agenda for next month.
Yeah, we'll see what the agenda holds for next month and see if that makes sense. The discuss and vote on financing for the new pumper truck for fire department to replace a model year 1991 pumper truck. You've got the leasing agreement here in your package. Do we have any information that we want to provide before we discuss this? I mean, before we,
Sure.
Move
So, fire trucks take an enormous amount of time to produce. The vehicle that we are talking about was ordered in March of 2023. We just received word about a week ago, maybe 10 days ago, that the chassis was ready to be delivered to the upfitter. And we received an invoice for the chassis for $381,648. That is what is sort of kicking this off. And we anticipate that the finished truck will be delivered in late November or early December. So from the time that we ordered it to when we will take delivery, it will be about 2 years and 9 months. So I looked at how we financed our last piece of fire equipment, which is the rescue truck. And it looks to me like we made sort of a very significant down payment for close to half of the value of that. And then we entered into a leasing agreement with this community leasing partners that we actually have with them on file, what is called a master lease agreement. And then we can sort of add equipment underneath it. Which is what this would do. I believe that for the current vehicle, it was a 7-year lease. And we are in the current budget year, we will make, I believe it's the third payment on that. Maybe
Okay.
second, I'll check. And so we have, there are two pieces that I'm asking for your discussion and ultimate vote. The first is, how much of the CNR fire balance do you want to use toward the chassis, sort of the down payment? The invoice that we received is for $381,648. The balance in that CNR account is $390,707. So if we used that, then it would come close to exhausting it. I mean, that's very close to all of it. That's not necessarily a problem. That is what it is for. I mean, we put this money away for this purpose. So it's not a bad thing to be using it. I had a conversation this afternoon with Alan the Liberty. He unfortunately could not be here tonight, but I'm going to meet with him again on Thursday. His concern, and I think it's a valid one, is, if before we take delivery of this, we have a pump failure or something like that could cost $40,000 or $50,000, what would we do? And I shared with him kind of the same thing that we shared with the Board of Education, previously, which is, thankfully, the town does have a healthy undesignated fund balance. So in the case of a major emergency like that, we would go to the Board of Finance and request a special emergency appropriation. But I think that it would be not just okay, but a good idea to use the funds that we have in CNR to sort of make this significant down payment toward it, and then finance the remaining, $418,000 or $19,000 over some period. I think that 7 years is probably the right number, because that way we would end up with, I think, a pretty manageable annual payment from a budgetary perspective. Could we get it down significantly lower if we stretch it out to 9 or even 10 years? Yes, but if you look at it, you end up paying a lot more in interest.
A lot more interest.
And you don't really get anything for that interest. So
I agree with you to use the money now to save us the interest payments. And if there is some sort of disaster, we need to ask for money, fine, that's what it's there for. But if we can somehow keep those interest payments as low as possible by using that chunk of money, in my mind, it makes sense.
Yeah.
How the rest of you
Myself.
feel?
I
Myself,
agree.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
that's you using our money as a tool.
Yeah.
And whenever you gotta pay interest on something,
Yeah.
and you got something in the bank, you're paying, if you're gonna be at 3.5%, 4%, now, but you're not gonna get that in the bank with it.
We're making some money now, right? We invested the money in undesignated fund.
in the
We're
undesignated
making
fund
some
balance,
money.
it is in the state of Connecticut short-term investment
Right.
fund. And that's actually yielding a little over 5%. So,
Nice.
I mean, it kind of works out to be pretty close to a wash.
Was there any surplus in that account left over from the last budget that we carried over? Or is this all new money for the 25, 26 budget?
Now, are you talking about the CNR or
The 381. You're looking for 381 right now, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that's in the 25, 26 budget?
We have built that up over several budget cycles.
Okay,
We put, usually it's been about $75,000 a year
Okay.
into that fund. This last budget cycle, to get the mill rate down a little bit, I think we dropped it to 73,000.
Okay, so,
But that 381 involves that $73,000. I think that's what Joe's asking.
Yes, that 73 was, yes, it does
Okay.
involve that.
All right, right.
Um,
Oh, that's the right way to go.
So I would like to make the motion to use the CNR
Yep.
funds to replace a model year 1991 pumper truck.
So could I ask, just because it is CNR, you need to vote a recommendation to the Board of Finance?
Oh, that's
and then
right.
we do the
Correct.
town meeting.
All
We have
right.
to do a
Yes.
town meeting again.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
for the amount, yes.
Yeah, well, you have to.
All right. So I'll
That's fine.
modify that motion
Okay.
that the Board of Selectmen send to the Board of Finance the recommendation to use the CNR money for the fire department to replace a model year 1991 pumper truck.
I'll second it.
Now,
Any other discussion?
oh,
Go ahead, no,
we-
go.
We should finish that. When we talk about the second piece, which is the lease, I
Okay.
want to share a conversation I had with my manager.
Okay, all right. No other discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, then the next one. Recommendation to the Board of Finance use. Wait a minute, where are we?
Capital non-recurring.
Yeah,
So the next one would be to direct the town manager to enter into
To
a
lease
lease
to
to
purchase.
purchase, yes, these two go together.
Um,
These go together.
And so this is where you would, we would say, okay, so we want to finance 400,000 and do we want to do it over 5, 7, 9, 10 years? And then the piece that I wanted to share with you was that Chairman Nastri had a great idea. And that was to check with Liberty Bank, who we
Yes.
do a lot of our business with them, see if they could offer us, a
Great.
5 or a 7 year note at something less than 4.96.
That makes sense.
Even if it's 4.7 or 4.5, on this amount of money,
Great idea.
it would save us a little bit. So
We bank with them now.
you can still approve this, or you can make it contingent on, first checking with Liberty Bank. This second piece is less important. The first one, we need to take to the Board of Finance and town meeting because we actually have an invoice that we have to pay for the chassis. The second piece, the leasing piece, has to happen before we take delivery.
And when do we have to pay this amount? Because we have to have the town meeting, we have to have enough time to notice it and have it.
We're going to need to move quickly. I think the invoice needs to be paid. It was 30 days from when we received it, which was about a week ago. So
So we've got to get going.
gotta get going, yes.
Okay. All right. Someone else want to make a motion instead of me all the time?
No, you got it. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, so I'll make a motion to direct the town manager to enter into a lease to purchase agreement with Community Leasing Partners or Liberty Bank, whomever
Okay.
gives the best rate for the balance of the purchase price.
Okay, I like that. Second.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Give John a chance to second. Okay. Any other discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Okay, we took care of the farmer's market. All right. We have no employee resignations or new hires. We are at the next meeting taking care of resignations, appointments, reappointments. We did have 2 resignations in our packet. Christopher Barella, who is a Board of Finance alternate, has resigned. And Colleen Kaplan, who is on the Commission on Aging, also as the chairman of that board, is resigning. Gail has been directed when she sends into the River East the little article about
Yep.
openings, to also include the cutoff date of those 30 days. So again, when somebody resigns, the very first Friday afterwards that we can get it into the paper, that's when the 30 days starts. Okay? And we do have a couple to take care of at our next meeting because it's beyond, it will be the 30 days for them. Okay? All right. Unfinished business. Discuss the town attorney correspondence regarding Board of Selectmen quorum requirements and Blish Park parking stickers. I'm not sure what else we have to say about the Board of Selectmen quorum requirements. We've had 2 opinions, the same answer both times. It takes 4 out of 5 of us to pass something, according to the charter. It's been verified and verified. Is there anything else that we need to continue to discuss this? Then let's talk about the Bliss Park parking
One question.
stickers. Yes.
There's four of us. What does it take to pass something? Three?
If there's four of us who are sitting here,
Like
it
tonight?
does take three.
Okay,
Does
I'll make
take
sure.
three. Yeah.
okay.
But again, we came to a decision months ago that anything that was important, we would make sure, unless it
had-
was
okay.
a dire need, we would make sure that we had a full board here. Bush Park parking stickers, I had made a motion that David and the Park and Rec Committee sit down and come up with some suggestions to bring back to the Board of Selectmen. But you said that the Park and Rec only met last night.
We met last night and
So-
we were gonna make a motion to discuss it, but we felt that we should have a quorum. We only had four members, two were missing, and David should be there also, and David was unable to make that meeting. So soon we'll meet,
All right.
talk about it. Okay.
So there's nothing new to talk about because
I got an idea.
people haven't
Yeah,
had a
what?
chance.
In reference to that, we have issued passes to the people who do the triathlon.
Yep.
And they pay us how much for that?
$125
hundred
each.
and twenty-four hours. So we basically have a policy in place for people who are not residents to use our facility, use it at the park, use it whenever you want. Are there any limitations on their pass for $125?
No, they go there early in the morning at 5 o'clock.
So
They
they
go
can come
swimming.
anytime they want.
Yeah, and they're not there like on the weekends to
Correct.
party.
I think a key distinction that I was discussing with Barbara is that pass covers the athlete themselves. It is for triathlon training.
Correct.
They cannot bring their family, their kids can't play on the beach, while they're swimming or anything like that. Whereas,
So would it be unreasonable to say if we have a policy of that nature already in place, that we maybe enhance it or continue it for other people,
Then non-residents.
non-residents?
Well, that's something
that
more.
triathlon,
Because the dilemma is this Greenwich thing, where the city of Greenwich got hammered. And I don't know if you ever
Yeah.
read that case, et cetera, et cetera. But if we used 125 hours as a target, we could say, this is something that's been in place. We're not developing it. We're not showing bias. We're not showing favoritism or non-favoritism or anything else. This has been the fee for these folks, and it should be continue it. The other side, if we have a fee that's less money, what is to prevent the triathlon people buying the cheaper pass and coming and doing it?
with their family as
With
well,
family.
instead of just by themselves.
So you keep the dollar amount equal right across the board.
That's a thought.
Well, that's something for them to discuss at their meetings.
So last weekend, the lifeguard sits in that little shed and there were 52 people he turned away were non-residents last week. So they're doing their job. This is a job we have established right now. So, nobody pays for any stickers right now, except for the triathlon people that come in. So,
So how do we put this to rest?
Well, again, it's in their
We're gonna
hands to come back to us with recommendations about what we should do. But they need to discuss it
Yep.
themselves with a full board, with everybody that's supposed to be
David.
there. Yes.
Discuss any more, summer will be over.
Well, I don't think it's gonna happen this summer because they're very busy at Parks and Rec.
You know, Joe, you've been around longer than me
Oh, gee, 'cause here we
on
go.
Earth as well as in town. What happened to that huge sign that was in Bliss Park by the parking lot, the main parking lot, that says for residents only, da, 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 da. That was taken down at some point in time. Why and where did it end up? And why isn't it back there?
I bet you it's in the town garage. When we did all that late landscaping there, they took down the sign. Remember all that landscaping they just
Yeah, so
did?
so my understanding is that one of the chains that holds it
Yeah,
up
broken.
broke.
Mhm.
And they have a new chain, and the Hebron Public Works Department very generously offered to come over with their bucket truck and help them and rehang it.
Oh,
But they're as busy as we are, so we're waiting for a break in the
Oh,
schedule
okay.
when they can come over and very generously lend us a hand.
that would be nice.
A piece of equipment that we know of.
right.
Okay.
It just, it makes sense that that's supposed to be there. And I've always wondered, Where'd it go?
I believe that sign said residents only.
Yes, it
Yes.
did.
Now, is that,
Very-
is that-
There's no gray in it. It's
there's
very
no gray, but is that gonna be okay to put that up,
We,
right?
if it is no longer residents only, if you change the policy, then we'll have to update the sign.
Right.
To reflect whatever policy you adopt.
All right, that answered my question. Thank you. All right, David, you have some town manager updates?
Yes. Public Works is going to be replacing a cross culvert next week on Fuller. And then we will set a date for paving of Sherwood Lane and Fuller and Myrna with the contractor. Jim is in contact with them. The transfer station concrete block repair there might be a little bit of work left, but I went up there today and frankly, it looks beautiful.
It doesn't.
I'm in there many times, yeah.
So they did
They're
a
doing a
really
nice job.
with it. And the way that they sort of poured the blocks all in one piece also makes the sidewalk, Jim was showing me today, also makes the sidewalk sturdier and less susceptible to
Cracking.
moving when they pick up the dumpsters and, bang it against the side, which occasionally happens despite their best efforts. It should be really durable for the long run.
So Public Works did all that work?
No, it was a contractor.
Oh, yeah, I thought so.
But,
Okay.
Jim spoke both Jim and Dylan spoke very highly of them. They
Good.
were easy to work with, and all indications suggest that they did very high quality work.
I was gonna say, under the circumstances, when, the fact that they've been able to work around
Right.
schedules.
Yeah.
And they've been very diligent about
Okay.
making it safe for
Yeah.
everybody that's there.
Yep.
Didn't we in the past approve new asphalt for
Parking lot,
the transfer
That was my
station?
next-
the road.
I don't recall approving any paving project up there. I think what Jim Grossman said was that he would try and use some millings from some of the other projects
Okay.
that we have. And that as our crew has time, he would try and kind of in-house, patch it and repair it.
Good.
But I think
That was-
it doesn't necessarily have to be a higher priority than some of our road projects.
No, no.
But, it's a smaller project and it's something that we should consider for a future capital budget because a lot of people do use it and that would be.
I'm just thinking where you go to put your trash and paper and plastics and so forth. There is a section now that's kind of torn up, gravelly, with little rocks.
Going to bring up the same issue.
To do something with that to make sure that people don't trip or it's not a hazard.
I think that Jim certainly has that in mind, and I think he's going to do the best that he can,
Yes.
with the millings and the spare materials that we have. But if we want it sort of as smooth as glass as, some of our other things, then that would be a project we would have to allocate money for.
Okay, all right, that sounds good.
South Main Street, there were some comments and questions about that. We have had a little bit of rain of recent, and
Yeah.
Jim has been out checking the gutter line flow to all of the catch basins, and he is satisfied. The water is flowing.
Going in there?
The road is shedding, and the water is flowing into the catch basins as designed. So
So did you take a little ride?
I did take a ride, and yes,
Yeah.
there are some
Just like
some
four
slight
spots.
bumps, although in the preceding section, there are some slight
Down.
bumps in the other direction at
yes.
each. So it's not necessarily worse
Right.
than any other section. It's a little bit different. But from my perspective, what matters,
Water
if
goes
that
in
if
there.
that's draining down a little bit,
Yeah. If it's
that's
draining in
great.
there, I'm
But
happy.
if it's draining, that's what really concerns me, because
Yeah.
if the water is not draining
Right.
properly, then you have problems with
water.
the longevity of the road.
Yeah.
But if it is draining properly, then
We're good.
I'm satisfied, and all indications suggest that it is draining properly.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I've taken a couple of drives myself,
Mhm.
not to disagree with my esteemed colleague,
Oh, yes.
but, I didn't really, I drove it in the truck and then I drove it in the car and
You're wearing out our road. What are you doing driving on it so much?
What are you doing on that road?
I didn't find it to be, all that.
It's like four houses.
Oh,
You
it is?
drove it and you just do this right
Yeah.
before Garden Lane to
Yes.
take a right on Garden Lane.
Yeah,
But
oh, yeah,
it's fine.
I've been back and forth.
And is this doing this going to cause people to run off the road or get into accidents
No,
or anything?
no.
Okay.
No, it's.
If you're going 50,
it's-
60 miles an hour, you might take
No, but
off.
you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So the water is draining into the culverts just like it's supposed to be.
Yes.
Okay,
And that,
Thank you for
that was
checking.
what concerned me.
Yes.
So we did go out. and
Thank you.
we checked.
that's what I want to make sure.
Okay.
The South Buckboard culvert replacement, the contractor will mobilize the 3rd or 4th week of August to start the work, and anticipates the box culvert being delivered in early October. So this is later than we wanted, certainly later than we expected, but apparently is having
order.
trouble getting the box culvert or having it delivered according to the schedule that we had originally hoped for.
Is there a completion date on that?
I believe there is, and I will check with Peter, but I think that it is like late November. I mean, we obviously want to get it done this
Oh.
construction season.
And the reason why I ask is sometimes we get into these projects and they seem to go on and on and on, and delays and excuses, one after another. And it's always nice when we go into a project of this depth that we tell the contractor, look, December 1st or this, that's it.
Deadline, that's it, yeah.
That's again, business. I don't want to hear excuses.
Okay.
Well, sometimes there's uncontrollable situations, whether it be supply or whatever. I mean, just like with budget, you make a budget with the best guess that you can of what you're going to need for money. Sometimes things go over, sometimes things go under. I agree, it's frustrating if we think a project's going to be done by such and such a date and it gets extended.
Well,
I
because
will-
South Road's a pretty good indication of the weather being a factor.
Yeah, exactly.
Over the last 6 months, that, prevented it. But again, I also agree with Joe. It's like they can keep putting things off unless we, be very.
Well, isn't there like a construction manager or a project manager who kind of makes sure that they
Time
do the best they
We do
can?
have one, and I will check this particular contract. But oftentimes there is a performance clause in there where if it's not finished by a particular date,
Get fined so much a day.
well, you basically get fined and they start paying us back. I suspect that there is money in there,
I think
or there is language like that in there, but I don't know what that date is. I suspect, I mean, originally we thought, okay, they're gonna be there working in July and be out of there by
Done.
September.
Right.
Right, that was the hope. Clearly, I'm sure in the contract, they built in a significant
I would
buffer,
think so.
and it turns out that they are using that buffer. But I am also confident that there is, a date in there and that they have a very strong incentive to meet that schedule. So I don't anticipate it being, further postponed beyond October.
Okay.
And then the other very happy news is that we received a TRIP grant for the sidewalk extension. You
Was in the
may
paper.
recall in January, we had a town meeting, yes, so it's been in the paper.
Yep. Paper.
We had a town meeting to approve an $80,000 match. So that we could apply for this grant. We actually applied for several grants and did not get the first two. So the third time is the charm. We did get the TRIP grant, and we anticipate construction starting in the spring with completion in the fall of next year.
And this is down at Lake Road and that part, a little bit part of Chapman.
Just a
Chapman.
little
Yep.
piece on Chapman, but about
To make
330 feet on Lake.
From Lake-
Nice piece in the riveries.
Okay.
Friday.
Well, I answered a lot of questions for the new reporter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you
I
did
hope
very
they all
good.
got in there.
So you met her. You met Kathy.
Oh, yeah. No, we met and she sent me an email with a litany of questions. and
Okay.
I answered them all, so hopefully they made them into the paper.
Yeah, very good.
Good. So
That's it?
All right.
that's it for tonight.
Okay, what about Selectmen? Do any of you have updates?
I have one.
I'll just remind everybody that Fourth Friday is not this week, but the following week with Ramblin' Joe Stevens. Been there before, he puts on a really good performance.
Okay.
The only other thing is, it looks to me like we have meetings scheduled both one more in July and then again the first week of August.
Not for us. We are the first and third.
Oh, okay.
I know there's another Tuesday, I'm signing checks that, but we don't have a meeting that time.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying.
And there was a question that went around November. Do we just meet once? November 18th? Somebody sent that email. Somebody was questioning that. I think it was Gail asking, are we only meeting once in November?
Oh, because of.
Oh,
the
because of election
because of
day?
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Tuesday. election.
What did we,
What did
when
we?
we voted on
Oh,
the
yeah.
schedule? If I got it with me.
If memory serves, we did say November 18th will be the only regular meeting, but
Okay.
depending on what is going on, you may call a special meeting.
Okay.
I don't know if I have the list here. I got two charters. I don't know if I got the right one. Here we go. Board of Selectmen calendar dates. November 18th is the only one in November.
Okay, because the first Tuesday is election day.
However,
Hmm.
with election day on the first Tuesday, isn't it within a week that the new members have to be seated and sworn in?
I think so. I think that's what happened in May.
Could be, I will check the charter, and if
So
so,
it
we
would have
should
to be
have
a
a special
special
meeting.
meeting. But yes, we only put one for November.
That's
18th.
right. Okay,
Okay,
yeah, okay.
we're ready. Okay. We are up to correspondence. Would you want to just mention about Shoshana's?
Yes, so Shoshana sent very
Okay.
brief but helpful senior center updates for May and June. It's front and back.
Oh, okay.
And I'm really pleased both with the work that she's doing, but also with the updates. I find them helpful, and I'm happy to share them with you.
She has a full van for Harry's place on Thursday.
Oh, good.
I just talked to her today. Okay.
That's nice.
Okay, we're up to public comments. You know the drill. There's all two of you here and Jim on Zoom, so we'll start in the room first. Ross, you want to go first?
Yes, please. Ross Chasky, live in South Parkwood. A few things. I never come from here, but listen to all you guys. Kind of enjoying it, actually. Marlboro Day, first off. And I don't remember from last year, but do we invite everybody?
Mhm.
Or do we only invite residents?
Every-
And if we invite everybody, do we advertise in River East?
Oh,
Okay, I just don't remember, so I just thought I'd throw that out there. We're on South Parkwood. I live on South Parkwood. Where are you putting the culvert thing? Or the, what do you call it?
The little river there.
further
Oh,
down.
I know where it is. Okay, thanks. Got it. Okay. Just, I know no
It's
engagement.
getting
but-
bigger.
No engagement.
But there's nobody here,
Just
so.
curious. I'm gonna apply for economic development, alternate. Just letting you guys know ahead of time. Mark Paul asked me to, become friends with him and play pool twice a week. He said, you need to apply for this. So I'm just letting you know ahead of time. It's gonna come before you. Okay, now something that I know something about. Disabled veterans. You guys talked about that. I'm a 30% disabled veteran. I served 6 years in the US Navy on submarines. I stopped and paid my taxes on the way in here today, for half of them anyway. And I spoke with Simon. I wanted to confirm that I was there, that he had me, that was signed into it. That it was being applied to he told me that you can apply to either, just informative to everybody, you can apply to either property taxes or vehicle taxes. And I get that. So like if you're renting, you want to apply to vehicle taxes, not necessarily property. Well, I don't rent, I own, and the house is worth more than cars. So I apply mine to the property taxes. The disability is assigned by the Veterans Administration, not by a physician, not by any paperwork, but you have to go to the Veterans Administration will have a physician evaluate you. And mine was done, got it, early 80s when I got out of the Navy. So anyway, they do an evaluation on you, and then they can periodically call you back in for a reevaluation. If they call you back for a reevaluation, they could up, like mine, to 30%. They can either up it or they can take it away. The town does not communicate with the Veterans Administration. It's up to the veteran to tell the town whether they've been increased or decreased in that. So you're asking for the honesty of the veteran tell you about that. One of the things guys also brought up was it is continuous, or you have to reapply. It's continuous from the day, when I first moved into town, I put mine in for 30% disability. Stay there, it remains. You have to give them the a DD 214, which is your discharge papers from the military, and also the VA sends me a letter every year and says you have a 30% disability. Use this piece of paper anywhere you need it if you can get a discount or apparently here on taxes. Any questions about the VA? I know you're not allowed to talk to anybody. No. All right.
Oh, well, thank you for the, thank you.
Yourself as a resource.
Thank you for that.
I've got to give you a call.
I've done this since the 80s. I've been a disabled veteran, so
Good. Nice.
no, not good.
Rob?
Well,
Well,
it's nice to have a discount.
I understand.
the only thing I had to what Ross said was that, that can happen later in life. So it doesn't have to be immediately when you discharge from the service. If at any point your record has something in it, for instance, like mine was much later, decision but it was deemed service related, so there's still gonna be any benefit from that. But there's a lot of ways that can transpire, but everything else concur with everything you said. It's VA, they have their own panel of physicians and physicians. It's nothing to do with your doctor or anything like that. They make the decision and it's done, it's done.
And you're absolutely correct. It has to be done by the VA. What's big right now is tinnitus. Here in the years, a lot of veterans are going for, are applying for that, and they've been out for 20, 30 years. And if they have the remaining years of tinnitus, VA will grant a percentage for that, and then that can be the paperwork you can brought to the town for them to apply.
Jim, do you have a public comment?
Hey, good evening, everyone. And to surprise you all, I'm not going to talk about speeding. I'm going to talk about what the other two gentlemen just talked about, and I actually have the entire claim process laid out right here. It's an actual 8-step process once the veteran actually files the paperwork, and it's very well defined with the VA. And the veteran needs to do it themselves and or with a veteran representative and or an attorney. But it's very strict. So they need to put down the correct information. And then once the VA receives it, they do an initial review. They take that information, they review it, they compare it to the veteran's service records. If there is enough evidence in there to proceed, it goes on to the evidence gathering afterwards. So then they ask the veteran for any other further information or doctor's records, and then or they send the veteran to a medical evaluation. Once they get through the medical evaluation officer, the doctor, PA, whoever it is, sends in their findings of the actual test. They don't recommend anything to the VA. They just say whether or not the veteran has X, Y, and Z. Once the VA gets that, then they review the record and they either decide that, yes, we are going to give a rating, or no. If it's yes, it continues on to the next step where they decide on the rating. Now, their rating scales are another thing to be determined, because if a veteran has, say, 10% for each ear, 10% for each knee, 20% for each shoulder, their disabilities could add up to well over 100%, but the VA does their percentage on a sliding scale. So someone could have 120% disability, but the VA is only going to say they have 60% disability because of their sliding scale, because each body part and each injury is rated a different way within the VA system. And somebody had mentioned, it's, a need, some veterans might have an income or something to that nature and may not have the need. Well, sometimes that need is not seen. There are numerous veterans with PTSD designations that it's not seen. You could have a veteran that's suicidal every other week and or on the 4th of July when all of these fireworks are going off. And if they have PTSD, they're gonna feel it. And that's not necessarily seen. So it's not necessarily just about the income. It's about the safety and welfare of that veteran. So I appreciate you all taking that into consideration and actually talking about this at length tonight. So it was great to hear, and I'm sure it's very much appreciated. I hate to say that the Navy's right, but the sailor up front was right tonight. So Semper Fi. Um, I thank you all for your service, and I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank
Jim.
you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just a quick one, while I'm still on. I got the report. You said, I think you remember, I remember you saying around 150,000 or something like that. I don't know.
130.
130. Okay, if it was 150,000 and we take our 6,000 residents, the end of it was $25 each. I mean, really, for what we have all done and become disabled, $25 a pop, really, that's half a dinner.
It's a pizza.
There you go. So for you, don't even question it.
All right, without any further business to attend to, 8:07, we'll adjourn.